Once again, I'm not sure exactly why I'm making a video. I actually need to be doing a test right now, but I was resting for a minute because I got like a slight headache because my sleep was not the best last night. But as I'm hearing from more people that have been through a lot of childhood trauma in this little season, I just thought maybe I would just mention that healing, it's not like a instant miracle when you have a lot of childhood trauma. It seems to be more like peeling an onion, and it's like layer by layer, and it takes a lot of supernatural rewiring of the brain, negative thought patterns, and recognizing your own patterns, dysfunction, and just unhealthy coping mechanisms. And they need to be addressed one by one, and not resisted, really, more like recognized and accepted, and also try to find in your history what caused you to develop that coping mechanism. So for example, the one I just kind of recognized as I was talking to a friend who also has trauma was that she was like, be careful, because when you do start to feel healing, you might feel uncomfortable when you have peace, because it's not your typical state. So it might be triggering, actually. And I was like, boy, is that right, because I've actually kind of already noticed that when things are peaceful and calm, instead of enjoying it and really sinking into that and just enjoying it, it's like I'm like, oh no, I can't rest in that. So sometimes I'll create chaos and trauma for myself so that I'm in a state that I feel comfortable in. But it's like, I'm not really comfortable in it. But I recognize, I had to think, where does that come from? And then I realized, oh, because daily I would have the peace that I was naturally prone to, in the beginning of the day, or maybe not, or maybe I would have a bad morning, but then I would find my peace, and it would be every single day consistently removed from me in the most hostile, traumatic way, that eventually I learned, do not have any peace or joy for anyone to steal, because it actually is less painful to go from bad to bad than it is from good to bad every single day and just be tanked day after day. So I learned, if you don't have it, they can't take it. So now trying to find it and have it can be a little more challenging, because I feel like I trained myself not to. I'm like, careful for that. You're vulnerable when you're at peace and when you have some good energy for someone to steal. So yeah, if you're healing from a lot of trauma, especially childhood trauma, which runs deep, those wounds are deep, you got to recognize that it's like an onion, and it happens slowly, and it might be uncomfortable when you do actually start to feel better, because you trained yourself not to be vulnerable. But this is what we want, and we're safe now, hopefully. Hopefully you're in a position where you're safe, and peace and joy are not being sought after by, I'm going to say, toxic people, because, even though I've been a toxic person, and I may have some of those traits as well, I may even do that unconsciously, very subconsciously. But I'm just saying, there are toxic people who thrive on leeching energy from others, and they'll leech your good energy. They will fire up in you negative energy and leech off that as well. And I believe it's because they can't feel anything, on their own because they have totally abandoned self, and so they don't have true emotions, so they have to feel them through others. So whatever they're feeling, they will make you feel so that they can then feel your energy. So it's like a leeching, and it's very toxic, and it works because humans are designed to like co-regulate. And so you kind of like empathy, like you know what other people are feeling, and so you might feel the same way, and so that we can help each other like regulate. So, but this is like a toxic regulation. So it's like a dysregulation that's caused by other people because they can't feel. So it can mess with you, especially if you don't see it happening and you just think it's like just an authentic, normal thing. And then they can get in your head and mess with you and steal your peace. But if you see it happening and you're around toxic people, then you know you need to protect yourself. And honestly, if you can, you got to get away from it. Like if it's your parents and you're still living with them, you gotta get out of there to feel the peace, because it's just hard to heal when you're still in a toxic environment. I'm not gonna say it can't be done. It probably can, but it's just gonna be really hard, because you gotta get somewhere where you can think right and not have somebody messing with your head all the time. And if it was your parents and you grew up and you got a messed up head now, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of rewiring. It's a lot of layer by layer by layer, and going back to what caused me to act like this and what caused me to adopt these negative beliefs and these negative coping strategies to survive. And then recognize you did that to survive. Like you were smart. You survived. Like that was difficult. Like that's good on you. But now you're not in that situation anymore, so it's going to be okay, and you can now give yourself permission to heal and feel, which is not easy, because you're going to feel a lot of yuck, because there's a lot of yuck you had to not feel, and so it's not going to go away until you let yourself feel it. And some of those hurt to feel, so it's going to be like a lot of crying in your closet. I did a little bit this morning and last night, and it was a little ragey, and it had to come out. And yeah, and it has to do with triggers that I developed growing up, when I would be woken up in such a frantic way, in such a abrupt, aggressive, mean, just stealing my peace before I even had a chance to like take my first breath being awake. It was very triggering. So my waking up is now like, it has to be done in the right way, and I need time to like slowly ease into it. But if I don't get that, then it triggers me into like, oh my gosh, I'm back in my childhood state. It puts me right into that like aggressive, like get off me state, like leave me alone. I need time. And that is what I needed. And any loving mom would give their children time to like slowly wake up before they pounce on them and try to leech their energy before they've even had a chance to wake up. I'm not saying she did it on purpose. I don't know what was going on with her. I just know it affected me negatively, and now I have a morning trigger. So this morning I got to see that is exactly what it is. I don't like being woken up abruptly by someone needing something from me immediately. And if it's a kid, you know, that's their job. They're kids, they need things, you know. But as an adult with trauma, it might register as a trigger, even though it's not the same thing as it was. So, but you have to go to a quiet place where you're not around anyone and feel those feelings and recognize where it's really coming from, and like love yourself through that. Like give yourself like a motherly hug and some love, and be like, you know what, I see why you are hurt by this and why it's triggering you. That makes sense. You know, you're safe now, and this is a different situation, and it's going to be okay. So it's just really a process, healing. It's not like a bam, you're healed with childhood trauma. You've really got to work through it. It is a process, but you get to know God more and deeper as you heal that way, because you'll see how he's working. And I also noticed that when God is working in your life, it's not really something you see in the moment always. It's almost always something you have to look backwards in your life and go, oh my gosh, he did that, and he knew what he was doing, and he was there, and he made this happen, and he knew what would happen after that. And so he had his hand in it the whole time. You know, bad things do happen. It doesn't mean that nothing bad ever happens in this world. Definitely does, but God can make good out of any evil. And, you know, it really takes looking backwards to see what God has done. It's not always clearly evident to us in the moment as it's happening. So if you're able to look back and see how God was doing this and that, then it can help you trust him in the moment, that he knows what he's doing, that he's working. You may not see it because we don't have the ability to always see. We're not outside of time like he is, but we do have the ability to look backwards in time, so we can see him working backwards, like if we're looking in the past and see it, that it happened. But in the moment, hard to see. So those are just some of the things that I'm kind of learning as I'm still healing. Like I said, I'm not there yet, but I've come like a long way. I used to be a total wreck and just totally emotionally immature, unstable, and I'm getting there to where I can actually know what I'm feeling, which is huge progress for me. I'm just happy to know that I can recognize an emotion. That's huge for me. And then just the fact that I know that it's been God, because I tried everything. Like I did therapy. I think I tried antidepressants maybe one time, but I only took them for like a few days. And I was like, it's just like, I don't like the way it just makes me feel very like just not up, down, just like, I don't know. And it's not natural anyway. And it's not true healing. It's really like manipulating it's not reality. I like to live in reality, even if it sucks. So I tried that. I tried just reading the Bible. I tried just praying, trying to stay close to God, all the things that Christians say to do. So I tried it all. And I'd read all the books about healing from trauma, how to heal from being raised by emotionally immature parents, and all that stuff. Like a little bit helpful, helped me recognize some patterns, but nothing really started the healing like it did when I gave up and I was like, God, I can't do it. I'm doing everything I can and I'm still a wreck. I'm still a mess. I'm still toxic. You're gonna have to do it. And once I gave up and said that and really did give up, like I started healing just in little ways, just a little bit at a time. And I'm not there yet. I'm always going to be a work in progress, but that is really, I think, what did it for me.